obviously not out on the right of way, so it's going to be back, from the highway proper, but I still think with the height that we were looking at, it would be visible from the turn lane, the right turn lane in, and obviously coming from the south, going northbound, from a distance there as you cross the front of the school property. So, you kind of had a chance to see, we were in the $60,000 range. This is with the full color. That was with the GRC only. I guess I would point out that when you look at some of these numbers, I'll start here at the bottom. The Techstar is a lower resolution, okay, with either the full color or the monochrome. We had a smaller screen with that particular manufacturer and at that resolution. It was only 8 feet wide and 5 feet tall. And it was only 12 foot high, being 7 feet off the ground to the bottom and the 5 foot height. And you see that was like a $20,000 sign. And we could add the ATC to that in some fashion, for probably another $3,000 or $4,000, and you have the install cost. You go to the very top, okay, and you have the Daystar, and this is the full color LED. It has a much higher resolution in terms of the pixel. It was also a larger screen, being 10 feet wide and 8 foot tall. And then the overall height of 15 is when you were 7 plus the 8. And if you added kind of a 3 foot sign for the ATC, which was down there that we had in that second line item, it was going to 18 foot tall. Now that was a reduction in price because that was the monochrome. We kind of try to compare line item 3, the full monochrome GRC only, for $50,000 versus the monochrome, including the ATC sign, and it was like a $5,000 upgrade. So if you went full blown, it'd be like about $65,000 with the full color ATC being added. You'd be at 18 feet tall. We were, in some of the examples we had, the reader board in between the GRC, home of the Cardinals, or some kind of emblem we would create at the top, and then have the ATC, Area Technology Center, Clark County Area Technology Center there at the bottom. Tonight, I guess I'm just asking whether this is something that you feel comfortable requesting us to look at out of your contingency as a change order with D.W. Wilburn, or if it's something that you would defer and try to look at or do more with, and it would come back at a later date. Because if you don't kind of move on it now, I think you're kind of default deferring, because we're trying to close out or getting close to closing out, or trying to get them. Actually, the basin is completely off-site as far as like any kind of stone base and some of the stuff that we initially looked at. And I don't think we really wanted to go there with some of the images. I think where we had the example of just a high pole sign right off the highway, we'd do some plantings or something like that maybe at the base. Any feedback, questions?
I really liked the possibility of doing some of the stone that's used in the building inside, but that may be cost prohibitive and all kinds of other things. Maybe it's not appropriate.
We'll probably have some stone left, but we might be able to do something with it. We got some stone masons
I was just going to say, how do we feel about having both the GRC and the ATC sign up there together?
What will be the signage for the ATC if we do not have them together?
Well, it would be another monument sign, a pole sign that might would compete with one another. I wouldn't want to have a situation where you have you've paid for two pole signs, two bases, and then one's blocking the view of the other, because one's on one side, one's on the other, or one's back further as far as where they're going to be. If you think you really had a problem with trying to coordinate what the reader board would be programmed for, because you could actually have the Area Technology Center events pull up along with any kind of other band, academic, athletic, cultural, public, meetings, all that stuff could be on the reader board at program times based on parent drop-off, student departure, student arrival, kind of as a as an update and a key to people that would be looking at that time of day. There is even some conversation about, do you look to provide advertising possibilities or capabilities on the sign, since it is an LED reader, you know, and that's probably a little more of a future discussion. That's not going to impact what we're trying to do, unless, let me back up, unless you were trying to have fixed panels that were going to always be advertising. And there were some examples of that in the catalog, but I don't know that we went there with anything we showed you from our perspective, you know, trying to keep it a little cleaner.
And did anyone, I know the question last time was, well, we need to see how the brightness of these screens are going to affect the neighborhoods around it. Did you find out how the different heights and the brightness of the screens will affect that?
Well, I think the hill for the church, one of the issues was whether we actually have enough visibility unless we, I mean, as long as we don't go too high. The other thing is, one of the nice things about the LED is it is not so much something that's throwing light out, to where if you turned your back on the sign, I don't know that you could really read anything from the output in lumens versus turning around and looking at it and then seeing the light actually on the face of the sign. Does that make sense? Where it's lit so that you can read it versus not providing light, like what happens in parking lots where we're trying to create, you know, 400 watts of, you know, light.
We'll just have night lights up here.
I've got enough night lights for me, so. One of my concerns was, I spoke with Ron about this before, you know, if we do end up, and Henry brought this up at the end of the last meeting, if we do end up selling advertising on it, right now that sign is exempt from zoning regulations because the zoning regulations don't apply to property owned by the school board, but you know, if we decided to sell advertising on it, I think planning and zoning could step in and say, you know, your signs have to meet our requirements. And I think that's important to try to, I think, keep that option open. Second, I think we need to try to be a good neighbor. You know, across the street is zoned R1. That's going to be single-family homes at some point. And the current zoning regulations say that illuminated signs should be located in a fashion which prevents all direct rays of light from shining on any residential zone or property used for residential purposes. So I think you can accomplish that if you're very careful to site the sign absolutely perpendicular to the road. The 627 is straight there. So, and I think as long as you are very careful to site that perpendicularly, you probably should be okay with that. So
That would, I mean, it's always really ambivalent when you talk about rays of light. If you can see it, does that mean that's a ray of light that's hitting your eye and you're diagonal and out on the highway? Yes, there's obviously some ray of light that's getting there. That's different than a ray of light that's actually like where it's illuminated for you to be able to read or actually provide X amount of foot candles.
the other thing is when you look at the heights here, I mean, the heights of the poles which are holding up the traffic lights, I think are at least 20 feet or thereabouts. So most of the signs we're talking about here are not going to be anywhere near that high. So you're probably going to be talking something where the height of the sign is probably equal to the height of the
Well, height of the sign proper in the real world, because we're going to be up on the hill, kind of trying to get above, we would be actually from an elevation, we would be taller than the pole, but not from a height. How's that? Does that make sense? From a elevation above ground on the planet Earth, which was what we want to do to get visibility.
Right.
But we certainly wouldn't be putting up any kind of like highway pole or signs like for interstate traffic, you know, that type of thing.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Morrell? I think we need to give him a decision tonight.
I think the monochrome red bothers my eyes. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
well, I would agree. I think if we're going to do something like this, I would go for full color like you need to see.
And personally, I feel like the only big decision is, do we put both signs together? And I feel like it makes sense to do
I think
that.
it makes sense. Okay. Okay. So the full color LED with the higher resolution, both GRC and ATC signs.
We'll put something together and get that out. All right, thank you.
Okay. Next item is item number 14, consider approval of capital funds request from Samus.
Yes, I think you all received our capital funds request. questions about it. This being a biennium again, the KSSC, the legislature has asked, let us use some of our capital funds that we have in excess of our debt service for general fund expenditures. And we have a clear defined plan that you all have received that as well, and what we plan on doing. And you all have any questions for me? Is there anything that you're concerned about or?
Any questions for Ms. Amos? All right, if not, a motion is in order to approve the capital funds request for, this will be fiscal year 2014.
I move that we approve the capital fund request for
Motion by Ms. Hicks,
2014.
I second.
second by Ms. McGill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item number 15, escrowing 2014 SFCC KETS offer of assistance.
We usually get 2 of these every year. Last year, we got both of them in the spring. This year, they came out a little early with the first one. That's the 49,284. We're asking to escrow this. That way, the funds will be available for us to spend up to 3 years, to match and spend up to 3 years.
Any questions for Ms. Amos? If not, a motion is in order to approve escrowing the 2014 SFCC KETS offer of assistance technology funds in the amount of $49,284.
I'll make a motion to escrow the 2014 offer of assistance for $49,284.
Motion by Dr. Griffith,
Second.
second by Ms. Hicks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And last item is item number 16, consider approval of additional position in payroll and accounting.
We have experienced several more duties come into our office, and with the Red Book and the regulations that's coming along with it, we feel the need to monitor school a little closer, help our bookkeepers ease into the process, because it is a change of thinking. There's more reporting with our retirement systems now that we're doing, and with the new audit standards, with the Audit of Public Accounts, making us more aware of different things and things we need to be looking at. An extra set of eyes would help in our department. We currently have 3 girls and myself, each of them with clear defined duties. It would just really make the life a lot easier. We pay 2 payrolls a month, so there's not a whole lot of free time for the ladies to take their days off. And this would just allow a lot more cross-training and allow them to be able to take their time off and not have to work nights and weekends. So probably experience their payroll.
Would this position also be helping monitor the Affordable Care Act hours and other things?
We pay through payroll, and it's come to our attention that not only what we pay is counted for the Affordable Care Act, it's what's actually worked. So we won't be able to track that through payroll.
Do we still have an insurance clerk who handles health insurance?
Yes, through the Human Resources Department, yes.
So, but that person wouldn't handle this Affordable Care Act question that she just
They'll
asked?
help charge you on it.
Most of the data for the Affordable Care Act is going to have to come through payroll, because when you start to determine whether or not a person is actually an employee of the district, some of the people that are, right now, we think of them as contract labor, they would give them 1099 and they invoice us for their pay. They're not even aware in HR that those people are in our district. Those people are paid through accounts payable. We don't do anything with those people in HR. So we don't really do that. That would have to go through the accounts payable. As far as monitoring existing in the district. And then that, according to Red Book, the determination of whether or not those people are considered our employees is made by the principal and then signed off by the finance director.
Then we pay them by the reported hours of students. So what we report for affordable care is our actual time worked, which a lot of times is different. So we're working on figuring how all that's going to work.
Well, I had some, question about this that I had inquired about, but, part of my problem with it is, we just, we approved additional days. We're saying that those additional vacation days or holidays do not impact the budget, but now we're asking for another fund so that this department can get their work done, even though we're letting them work fewer days. It just kind of seems a little, self-fulfilling.
Two things to add to this. One, we spent last year over $17,000 in overtime out of these girls. That's one problem. My bigger concern is that with the 3 girls in there, we have 3 ladies, I'm sorry. We have one who does certified payroll, one who does classified payroll, and one who does accounts payable. If one of those folks, one of which is retiring here in another week, but if one of those walked out and got hurt, we're in trouble. There's no one else to step in. There's no way that these 2 could pick up that load. It's not, and they're having to work. You can come up here virtually any Saturday and Sunday and find 1 or 2 of the 3 of them in your work. And keep in mind, we're still down 2 positions, central office. One general fund position and 1 Title I position. We're still down 2 positions in central office from where we started when I started in July.
So in looking at the amount of overtime was $17,000, was any consideration given to requesting a half-time position?
That is a possibility, but getting half-time is sometimes difficult, and we just feel like we've got full-time work.
The level of skill
Yeah.
that's needed to do this job, I think we would have a hard time finding someone to do it at halftime. It's going to be hard enough. I mean, if we bring someone in now, it'll be 6 months before they can work independently. I mean, we're going to have to work side by side, and probably December payrolls, I will have to do them because they won't be anywhere near ready, plus my work that I do. And it kind of gets overwhelming, and we could really use another set of hands. Right now, like he's mentioned, there's specific duties that each girl is assigned. We started off, we added the fixed assets, reconciling those. While different departments are helping us with those as well, I'm doing the fixed assets too. I'm going and doing those as well. Doing the auditing, watching the school activity accounts when they come in, plus the district activity funds that used to be the school activity funds coming to the district level. I'm doing them as well too. So I mean, it just keeps coming and coming. It would be nice to have someone to help cross-train and get used to that.
State auditors provided a lot of extra work for you also.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
I think the overtime number is fairly significant when I heard that number. I would think it's probably cheaper in the long run to hire a full-time person. And as opposed to part-time versus full-time, we have part-time positions in our office, and the part-time positions are definitely harder to fill, especially for something that's with this level of training. So.
And will these folks continue to get overtime when the work doesn't get done?
Well, we're hoping that won't be a problem with this extra person. We're going to divide up the reporting duties versus the processing duties and ease them into processes at one time, first being payroll. Having 2 new people in the office with the one lady that's leaving, this person will learn payroll first before they're ever able to help with any of the other processes because it's so complex.
What are the additional requirements going to be on the payroll folks for the Affordable Care Act?
Well, like we said, we're not really sure how we're going to track that. We've went and we've looked at 2 different programs that 2 different companies are offering, but they still encourage someone manually inputting time. And somewhere it tracked when someone walks into that building and when they leave that building, not when they work. If they're scheduled from 8 to 4 and they come in at 7:30 and don't leave to 6. Payroll is 8 to 4. When they're there, when they're eating lunch, non-duty time, that's Affordable Care Act time. Somebody has to keep track of when they're there 7:30 to 6. Yeah. With a coach
So who
plan,
does that? I mean, how?
we're trying to figure that
We're
out.
working on that.
I mean, it's nothing to do with payroll. It's not kept in the units. That's not kept anywhere with us.
So is the supervisor in the building?
Well, we've looked at different programs that do things a little different. A lot of them talk about sign-in, sign-out sheets, and somebody manually inputting that into a spreadsheet. The only people it's going to really affect are people that don't already currently get benefits. Part-time people, paraprofessionals that come into it as subs. We looked at some policies that a couple of districts are adopting about limiting subs, so that doesn't become a problem. But then you have the part-time and the paraprofessionals. And if you've got a coach that sits at home and plans out, writes game plays, that's work time. They get paid a flat $5,000 for being a coach, but nobody's counting their practices, they're getting ready to go on the buses, they're scheduling the field trips. That's Affordable Care Act time. That's not payroll time. And so it's like, she said to her face.
What we've done to try to start working on that is we have developed a timesheet, and we've met with Jamie Keene and Paul Columbia, and all of our coaches that are not current employees, those are the ones that are going to be the issue. Started October 3rd, which is we're supposed to record from October 3rd all the way around. If we determine that our stability, tracking stability and administrative periods, when they're going to be, which we're following Katie's lead right now, and we're starting with the 12-month tracking. We started, and we have our October timesheets for those coaches right now. And they've already started tracking themselves for November. But we've been told that for substitute teachers, we have substitutes, but that's half day, full day. But if the sub actually works in the building 6 hours as opposed to 7 hours, you have to know that they're in the building 6 hours as opposed to 7. So that's involved school level tracking. And some of these programs say that they can work backwards in inputting that information. But we haven't obviously decided on a program. I did talk to Dara today, KSBA, and she said that she recommended, I looked at Greenup County's policy they're trying to put in, and it's for limiting subs to, instead of 130 hours, which concerned me, because 130 hours would mean they would qualify. And she said, I'm glad you pointed that out, that's a mistake, it should be less than 130 hours in a month, and so she was going to fix that. I asked her to do a draft for us, so we could see. And the other thing that we were concerned about was the board needs to make some decisions about the stability, the tracking, administrative and stability periods. She suggested that we work with John Fogle, and I sent an email out to him. I don't think we ought to do a policy on it. I think we ought to do it as a resolution, which he would draft for us, and then we go for you guys, probably in the next board meeting, and we would just say, yes, we're going to track for 12 months, and that's what we recommend that we do. And I'm going to a couple of meetings Thursday and Friday this week to find out a little bit more about it, and then we have policy and a resolution on next month's agenda with Mr. Christie's approval. It's complicated.
Any other questions from Ms. Any other questions from Ms. Amos or discussion about the additional position?
So Gina, you'll be, if you get the additional position, you'll be looking for 2 people in your division within the next, starting tomorrow. Now, have you already started looking for the replacement of the person who's leaving?
Well, we've advertised for that position, and the 7 days are up for the advertising of that, but I think we still have to advertise the other position if it's created. But I was hoping we could interview once for the whole thing, but if we have to advertise another 7 days for the other position, that will put us 7 days further back.
You would post the new position. I think
It's
it
newly
would be
created.
wise to post the new position.
But are we creating a new position, or are we just adding an additional person in an existing position?
It's adding additional personnel because we're using the same job description.
Right, okay,
Change the job
okay,
description.
okay.
The duties would be listed just like the other ones.
Any other questions, comments, or discussions? If not, may I call for a motion?
I'd like to approve an additional position in payroll and accounting.
Motion by Dr. Griffith. A second. Second by Ms. Brigano. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Amos. Hi, Mr. Columbia. How you doing? You're going to be up here a while, looks like. So, first item is item number 17, the local planning committee membership.
We have 19 members of this local planning committee. 10 are returning from the past one. Those are Leslie Alejandro, Mike Mitchin, Lynn Kennedy, Kathy Howard, Stephanie Rice, Deidre Newell, Mike Flynn, Keith Roberts, Dr. Kudak, and Mike Rogers. We have some new members. Joel Vincent, he's taking the place of a teacher that was not able to serve. Kevin Kennedy is taking Christy Bush's place since she's not a building administrator. Lee Moore, Sharon Hampton, parent of Trapp. Mark Rose is taking Brenda Considine's place since she's no longer building administrator. Melissa Dickin, the new school justice. Carrie Taylor, parent of Pilot View. Mindy Campbell, parent of GRC. Dwayne Wheeler will replace Doug Chambers. Doug is no longer with zoning and planning.
Doug Christopher in that.
I'm sorry. Put down the wrong name, thank you. And then I'll replace Mr. Christie.
Any questions, Mr. Columbia? If not, a motion is in order to consider approval of local facilities planning committee membership as presented.
Make a motion to approve local facilities planning committee membership.
Motion by Mr. McGowan,
Second.
second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is number 18, pay application 19.
This is from Codell Construction Company for construction services for the concrete renovation project in the amount of $762,986.24.
Any questions or discussion for Mr. Columbia? If not, a motion is in order to approve pay application 19.
I move that we approve pay application number 19 from Codell Construction Company for construction services for the concrete renovation project in the amount of $762,986.24.
Motion by Ms. Hicks,
I'll second.
second by Mr. McGowan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is pay application number 24.
Also from Codell Construction Company for construction services for the new Justice Elementary project in the amount of $302,687.13.
Any questions, Mr. Columbia, on pay application number 24? If not, a motion is in order to approve.
Make a motion to approve pay application number 24.
Motion by Mr. McGowan,
Second.
second by Dr. Griffith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item number 20, pay application number 30.
Codell Construction Company for resident observer services at the new GRC project in the amount of $9,375.
Motion is in order to approve pay application number 30.
Make a motion to approve pay application number 30 for $9,375.
Motion by Dr. Griffith,
Second.
second by Ms. Hicks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item
Before we go on, of course, that's Herman Shack. He's been in that room for so long, I've been teasing him, it's a chemistry room, that we should make him a chemistry teacher next semester. He said we better not blow up the school, he could be the industrial maintenance teacher. Though.
We could do some industrial engineering curriculum, what do you think?
We already.
He's been there quite a while.
All right, next item is item number 21, pay application number 36.
From the general contractor D.W. Wilburn for the new GRC project in the amount of $388,945.47.
Any questions, Mr. Coleman, on pay application number 36? If not, a motion is in order to approve.
I move that we approve pay application number 36 for general contractor D.W. Wilburn for the new GRC high school project in the amount of $388,945.27.
Motion by Ms. Hicks,
Second.
second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is item number 22, change order number 54 for GRC High School in the Ag Mechanic Shop, in the amount of $1,880.25. We can get a little explanation on the change orders. I think there's a group here that kind of goes together.
We've got
Yeah.
quite a few.
They are.
This is adding clear anodized aluminum trim to the overhead door jambs so that they match it better. Herman, do you have any input on that?
Right, you can speak up.
Right, yeah, we had some wood exposed there that needs to be covered, and this is just a method of, putting aluminum trim on those door frames. It'll match the, trim that is being placed on the ATC door frames on the garage door, so they'll all match.
Of all of these various change orders that we're going to be considering, has any of the work already been done on them?
On some of them, we had some we hit later with the park renovation, contract renovation, where if we had waited, it would have been a month delay. So some things we had to get done, but we'll get those, we'll get to the park for contract renovation.
But this one,
This
The
one
work
has,
has-
this one has not been done.
okay,
One of the next ones, it has been done because it's a code issue over egress with the exit signs. So I'll explain that in a minute, but yes. To answer your question, some has been done.
okay.
But not for this number 54 that's up for
Okay,
approval.
thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Columbia or Ms. Morrell? If none, motion is in order to consider approval of change order number 54.
Make a motion to approve change order 54 for the amount of $1,880.25.
Motion by Dr. Griffith,
A second.
second by Mr. McGinley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is change order number 55 for the exit signs for $1,625.44.
I'll go ahead and speak to that real quick.
Sure.
We had, up on the green roof, outside the science rooms, we had 3 doors, one from the corridor, 2 from the science rooms, that originally did not have a canopy to help protect those doors, okay? They were swinging in, so they weren't immediately outside. Then we came to you sometime back and asked about installing that canopy because of, just any wind-driven rain, trying to get into that threshold. Those were installed. As a result of that, the exit sign required by code for anybody on the green roof indicate that those doors were a means of egress off the green roof. That exit sign was no longer in a position where it could be applied to the wall or be hidden, so we actually took the existing sign, that was already in the contract, pulled it out to the face of the canopy, and ran a conduit across the top of the canopy in order to be able to get power and everything to that, for emergency lighting. So it's about $500 and something worth of labor and materials to bring those signs out. And Ms. Hicks, that is what has been done. If you went out there now, that is actually installed. We went back and forth over some of the pricing for that. We actually weren't exactly sure how we were going to accomplish this the best way. We were trying not to penetrate the canopy, so we didn't have water coming into the sign. And so in the end, we were able to go all the way across and came out through the base of the canopy with some more wire pipe addition. And the contractor wasn't sure exactly how that was going to work, so he tried one, it went so well, he went ahead while he was there and did the others, because it was on our punch list, if you will. And now this is the price for the work that was done.
So are these basically $500 plus each?
Yes.
I guess, I wish there were a way that we could approve stuff ahead of time. I mean, can't we call a meeting, when there are a number of things to be done, can't we call a special meeting so that, or is this just the way it's done? I mean, I don't like this, if we have to approve a change order, to me, that's requesting that this work, that you have permission to do this work. If you're going to go ahead and do it anyway, what is our role if it's kind of a forgiveness versus permission thing?
Right, and I guess part of that is that you're meeting once a month, maybe twice a month, trying to limit your agenda. We're working every day on a $40 million project, trying to get it completed. And there have been numerous times that previous superintendent actually instructed us not to come to the meeting with any agenda items or limited us to the number of agenda items that she would allow in order to keep things under control or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's nice, but we're trying to get a project done. So there were events in the past that were tabled or not put out in front of you because we were told there was not time and or that was not going to happen for that month.
I
I
Yes,
have
okay.
I have a question about the resident observer then. In that capacity, I thought that the resident observer could at any point in time say, okay, something's got to be done right this minute. We need to go to somebody, get approval. No.
As an observer, that's what they are as an observer.
So they can't
Not
vote
that
this,
authority.
they just observe it.
And even I, contractually, as your architect, who is an agent for the owner,
Mm-hmm.
am not in a position to be able to commit more dollars like that. So
Right.
Ms. Hicks is right over change orders being that way. It comes down to what's critical and needs to be done in a timely manner, or what is, or what can wait. Like what you just approved, we would just paint the wood, paint the block, it would match exactly. Herman's right, we've got a good price and it tries to help match. We have a similar condition on the ATC that is yet to be brought to your attention. We're getting some pricing from Wilburn and from the subcontractors over another couple of doors. This was the best option and one we wanted to get done for the ATC or the ag shop that's under students. So, yes, it is the way it's done. Is it perfect? No. Do we try to wait on some things when we can? Yes. Are there items that, really can't wait? Because if you wait, it ends up stopping the job. And in some ways, I commend the contractors, subcontractor, general contractor, of trying to continue in order to be, I guess, progressive in terms of the schedule versus shutting down and just stopping, until we get to a meeting.
But are those the only two options? To do it without approval or to wait the entire month? Is there not?
There's a third option, we can meet once a week and do change orders.
Or
And,
maybe
the
not
thing
once
is,
a
if there's
week, but
something, if
every-
there's something major going on, I would certainly expect that would be the thing, if you're looking at a significant, dollar expenditure or.
Like this
an emergency
$60,000
situation.
one that's gonna come up a little later? Has that work's already been done too, hasn't it?
Yes.
Maybe the $1,500 ones don't matter, the $60,000 one matters. But, I don't know that, because if a $60,000 one doesn't matter, is a $100,000 one gonna matter? At what point does the board get to be involved before what is considered a major expenditure? If it's that critical, to me, $60,000 is critical. And we weren't even told about it until after the fact. That's not right.
I think that the issue is they all matter, but I think you've got to balance, how hands-on and involved you want to be as a board member versus, how is it going to interrupt the construction cycle? I will say this, the Contrite renovation was delayed 30 days. That would have put opening that school on time
Right,
in
but
peril
that would
without any
have,
question.
but in my opinion, that would have been justification to call an emergency meeting
And I'll
or
be glad to do
whatever.
that at this point on any, regardless of the cost, on any that would be detrimental to the completion of the project.
Right.
Now, there are some that we get that it can wait 30 days to get to.
Right, because, and I thought this had waited, I even asked Mr. Christie yesterday when we met, the last email, this one is coming up later, I'm sorry, we'll get to it, I guess. But, I said, this email was October 18th, what have they done for the last month? They went ahead and did it. So, okay, sorry. Christie.
Oh,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman, could I say something?
Sure.
Sure, Herman.
I haven't been in your position before. I did spend 5 years on the board, and we went through construction projects. Something that this board might consider is how we handled it. The board actually allowed, in our case, it was an assistant superintendent who was in charge of buildings and grounds, to have the leeway to authorize the smaller projects. The board gave him that authority up to a set amount of money, okay? And I believe you can do that legally. And it might resolve some of these issues where that this comes up in between meetings, and not require the special call meetings and so forth. So just something for you to consider.
Yeah. I've been on a board where we did do that. We had a set dollar amount. We said, below this amount, if there's an emergency, something needs to happen, and we can't all get together till the next week, you have permission to do this on an emergency type basis.
Based on what we heard last Friday from Adam Evelyn, what would he say about that, Paul?
Well, I'd like to have that, I'd want to have a conversation with him
Yeah.
about it to see, I mean, what where he would weigh in on something like that. I know a lot of other districts that do this, and that's maybe something he's talked to, I don't know. I've not seen that in any reports, but that would be an interesting question to see how he would respond. I'm okay if you want to set an amount, or if you want me to on just any change order, I can send out a mass email to the board, and then you guys can decide whether you want to meet on it or how you want to, whatever. But on any that would affect, we're on tight timelines now for contract, and we're going to be on it even tighter with the new contract renovation, the high school building, and Clark Middle renovation. Those are going to be on an even tighter time frame. Anytime you're going into renovation of buildings, you run the risk of something unforeseen coming up. Now, we did do, back last summer, we did do some work out at Justice prior to the board. Ms. Ferris, Dr. Ferris gave permission to go ahead and do it on the road. We ran into some unsuitable soils, and that was
Not to exceed 25,000.
Yeah, not to exceed 25,000, so that was the direction I was given on that. We came in under that, well under that. So if you want to set an amount, we'll look at, whatever works with you guys, we're fine. And if it's something that will impede the completion, then I'll email and you all can decide if you want to have a special call meeting or how you want to proceed. We can do that.
We should probably get an opinion from somebody higher up.
I probably won't go to Mr. Eady with that first opinion. I'll check with KE and some others first. That's all right.
Okay.
Getting back to change order 55, any other questions pertaining specifically to change order 55?
Sorry.
Your point is good. I think it would probably be behoove us to come up with a dollar figure that we can give Mr. Christie and say things below this are likely, things that are likely to approve. But you get into a situation there. It's $1,600 and $60,000. I mean, it's the public's money. All of it's important.
Yeah.
So, and we may come up with something that we just flat out don't agree with. That's a low dollar amount. That might get over some chambers that we're going down.
Let me throw this out for consideration possibly. KDE requires anything over $7,500 comes to them for their approval. What we were looked at under that amount, since that change order is not going to go to, it's not going to be.
They've actually upped that threshold, I think, 25 now.
I didn't
That's a lot of money.
know that.
This just recent.
That's a car.
I will, just for reference for now, I will in between now and the next month's board meeting, if there are any change orders that come up that need immediate attention, I'll email you and let you talk to the board on how to proceed with it, and we'll not do it. And then, in the meantime, I will also get an opinion on what our legal course of action can we take. And I'll report that back to you at the December meeting, if that's okay.
Okay. Getting back to change order.
Are we approving it? or
B.W.
endorsing it?
Wilburn and Codell's here, so everybody's hearing this on the change orders. And any change orders, we need to know, before we do it.
We'll let you know.
Okay.
All right, there's no other discussion about change order number 55. A motion is in order to approve.
Make a motion to approve change order 55 for the Phase 1 George Rogers Clark School Project in the amount of $1,625.44.
Motion by Mr. McGowan,
We'll second it.
second by
I'm sorry, I was waiting for somebody else to chime in.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1, with Mr. McGowan, Dr. Griffith, Dr. Kudak, and Ms. Ritchie voting yes, and Ms. Hicks voting no. Okay. Item number 24, pay application number 15.
From D.W. Wilburn for the Phase 2 Clark County ATC project in the amount of $538,131.56.
Questions, Mr. Columbia, on pay application number 15? If not, a motion is in order to approve.
I move that we approve pay application number 15 from D.W. Wilburn for the Phase 2 Clark County Area Technology Center project in the amount of $538,131.56.
Motion by Ms. Hicks,
Second.
second by Mr. McGowan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item number 25 is change order 15.
For the Phase 2 Clark County Area Tech project to room 3013B in the amount of $11,958.41, which would add 21 calendar days to the date of substantial completion.
Now,
This
what
is
does-
not done.
Okay. What does the new date become?
December 28th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
21st? I thought so.
No, 28.
Okay.
This is for the mini split system, like what we did in the high school. That was substantially more because of the number of IDF clauses that we had for the racks for the technology. So this is adding that additional system, energy savings, if you will, because we can go into setback at night, over the weekends, during the summer, and still keep those systems cool without cooling the entire facility. So, but again, this has not been done, and so we're waiting for your approval to order that and get that installed.
Any other questions, Mr. Morel or Mr. Columbia? If not, the motion is in order to approve change order 15.
Make a motion to approve change order 15 in the amount of $11,958.41.
Motion by Dr. Griffith,
Second.
second by Mr. McGowan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item number 26 is change order 16.
For the Phase 2 Clark County Area Tech project in the amount of $10,942.38.
Okay, we go ahead.
Has this one been done?
This has not been done. None of this has been done. We have a request from your Area Technology Center welding instructor about the first line item for the $4,556. It would be adding valves to the welding gas piping system in order to be able to purge that system in different incremental stations to save overall gas waste or consumption. And so this would be just an additional feature, not a requirement. You do not have to do this, but it apparently would be his request in order to save gas over the long haul. When a student turns on a particular line, he can shut off that and purge that without having to purge the entire system. That's about the explanation I have on that. Item number 2 was a 6-inch metal stud wall that we were wrapping around some exposed domestic water piping. We did not want to put that piping in the exterior wall. We actually had a CMU wall shown kind of on our documents that wasn't well detailed. They did actually get the piping outside, but we had like if it had been a CMU wall, probably been a 4-inch wall that you couldn't put the piping in, so we came back and put a metal stud wall. We'll plan to put a metal stud wall to hold that piping. So that was the $978. And then another item with this change order was regarding the control signalization, if you will, for the welding fans, the actual piping. It's kind of a control system. It came in from the manufacturer of the system much larger than we had anticipated as far as one location where we were indicating this was going to be. And so we kind of moved the location as part of that. Also, in addition to that, because this is controlling the individual welding booths, we also have some additional light fixtures that were associated with the welding booths. We had located light fixtures in each welding booth at about 6, 8, 7 foot, I guess, that was like a glass with a wire cage fixture that is 277 volt, for lighting. But with the articulating arm that's in the welding booth, there was some concern that would maybe hit that fixture. We have good lighting overhead that comes into the booth, and the actual articulating arm we have has a light inside the actual exhaust. So when the student brings that over and locates that, clamps that right to their work to pull the exhaust gases off, it has a light inside there shining directly on the work. So it was determined that light fixture was no longer needed. You have a DPO that's going to be in just another minute here that is actually a return to the manufacturer of that light fixture. So we're deleting that light fixture as associated with that, and then also turning around and then having to relocate, like I said, that eco panel as a part of that. So we had some credit that came back to put the control panel in the storage room right there, as well as deleting some of the labor and everything from some of the other work. The conduit is left in place, so at some point in time you want to come back, there's a wall, box in the wall for the switch. There's conduit that runs that controls that for that light, but we deleted that out of, not having to have that need. We also are adding a receptacle because of that light that's in that control arm. It has to be plugged into an outlet, just a regular duplex outlet that's mounted in the railing system for all the gas piping, because it is at a different voltage than the light fixture itself. We talked about just putting a simple outlet in that box, but that is actually conduit and wired back to a light control panel. It's 277 volts instead of our regular 120 volt. So.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Hearing you present it is a whole lot better than reading it, let me tell you.
Okay. Any questions? It is, us trying to do the best for everyone, there in the facility for the future.
Any other questions for Mr. Morrell or Mr. Columbia? If not, motion is in order to consider approval of change order number 16.
Make motion to approve change order number 16 for the Phase 2 Clark County Area Technology Center project in the amount of $10,942.38.
Motion by Mr. McGowan. Second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item is number 27, change order for credit amount of $830.86, which was linked to the previous item.
That was for light fixtures deleted.
Make a motion that we approve DPO change order number 0746-02-28-01 for credit in the amount of $830.86.
Motion by Ms. Ritchie.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hicks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Change order number 17 in the amount of $3,207.60.
This is for a temporary on-site water supply. At this time, we don't have a water meter set from WMU for the ATC. There's still some drawings that have to be finished by our engineer, Ms. Abby Jones. So therefore, we don't have water to finish all the testing, flushing, etc. Right now, they're using a water hose.
That's correct.
Is that right? To run across to try to do the best they can with it.
So
Go ahead.
this one hasn't been done yet then?
My question is just kind of a practical one. When we get through with the project, what's going to happen to this apparatus?
The water line will stay, there'll be a valve in it, and should something happen that you would need water back or forth between those two buildings in the future, a meter fails or something, you would have the ability to go in there and keep school open by opening this line back up and feed it from the other part of the building. So it would remain in the building. It's designed to be a permanent fixture to the building, not something that you would pay this far and then get tore out.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, the motion is in order to approve.
I'll move that we approve change order number 17 for the Phase 2 Clark County Area Technology Center project in the amount of $3,207.60.
Motion by Ms. Hicks,
I second.
second by Mr. McGowan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And let's see, 29 through 33 are credits.
Yes, they range from $54.51, Old Castle Precast, Clay Ingles, $144.50, Quikrete, $1,665, Dimensional Metals, $20.42, and New Tech, $1.
How much did it cost to process the $1 one?
A bit more than that.
That was a misprint, you know, $1.
I'll look at it.
With the board's permission, I'd like to address these five as a group. So a motion is in order to consider items number 29 through 33 as described.
I'll make a motion to do that.
Motion by Dr. Griffith,
29 through 33,
second by
sorry.
Mr. McGowan. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item 34 is change order 22-3 with Chambers King.
We have to approve those, though.
Yes,
Okay. So
I wanted to do them
you
as a
said
group.
you consider it as a group, so.
Okay.
Was the motion to consider it as a group or to
Your
actually
motion was to approve the
Okay.
group.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, next item is item number 34, change order 22-3.
With Chambers Painting for the Clark County Elementary School project in the amount of $9,000. This was in the original bid, but a mistake was made in billing and payment by Chambers and BASF. So BASF will give a like credit on the next item that's on the agenda here. So it's just working things out, so it's not really spending any money new. It's some mistakes in billing. Trying to correct those.
So who is going to do the work?
It's accounting's all it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's zero cost to the board, $9,000 credit from one, $9,000 after the other, just accounting to make that right on paper.
So do we consider those two together?
I would make that suggestion.
I move that we approve change order number 22-3 with Chambers Painting for the Clark County Elementary School project in the amount of $9,000, and approve change order number 22-2-1 with BASF for the Clark County Elementary School project for a credit in the amount of $9,000.
Motion by Ms. Hicks,
I'll second.
second by Mr. McGowan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item number 36.
Change order 22-2 with Houston Barger Masonry Inc. for the Concrete Middle School project in the amount of $2,354. And Mr. Davis, this is one that's already done because we had the load-bearing walls. Is that correct? On these, that when working on the existing building, they took away the ceiling and discovered there's some load-bearing walls that were in bad shape and needed some remediation work that would slow down the project if not done.
Any other questions for Mr. Columbia on item number 36? If not, motion is in order to approve change order 22-2.
Make a motion to approve change order number 22-2.
Motion by Mr. McGowan, second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
All right, motion carries 4-1 with Ms. Dr. Griffith, Dr. Kudak, Ms. Ritchie, and Mr. McGowan voting yes, and Ms. Hicks voting no.
Okay, I gotta run out for just a second.
Okay?
Sorry. I'll be quick.
I'll continue on. Will we continue on with your permission? Yes, thank you. Okay, item number 37, change order number 22-3.
With the St. County Houston Barger Masonry Inc. for the Concrete Middle School project, the amount of $560. Once again, load-bearing walls that need some remediation work for safety and moving on with the project.
Any other questions, Mr. Columbia? If not, a motion is in order to approve change order 22-3.
I'll make a motion to approve change order 22-3 for the amount of $560.
Motion by Dr. Griffith,
I'll second.
second by Mr. McGowan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 3-1 with Dr. Griffith, Dr. Kudak, and Mr. McGowan voting yes, Ms. Hicks voting no, and Ms. Ritchie out of the room temporarily. Item number 38.
Consider approval of change order 28-4 with Carpet Decorators Incorporated for the Concord Middle School project for a credit amount of $3,099.25. The skim coat that would have been over the existing slab, the new slab was needed due to the voids under the existing slab. Therefore, no skim coat was used.
So has this one been done? No, this is the credit line, 38.
These are all credits because the 60,000 that's coming up later had to be done.
It's tied at number 42, correct?
I make a motion to approve change order 28-4 for a credit in the amount of $3,099.25.
Motion by Dr. Griffith,
A second.
second by Mr. McGowan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1 with Dr. Kudak, Dr. Griffith, Mr. McGowan, and Ms. Ritchie voting yes, and Ms. Hicks voting no. Okay, next item is item number 39.
Change order 35-3 with Finney Company Incorporated for the Concord project for a credit in the amount of $12,000. That was
Is this
changing-
one also related to 42?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Has the work been done?
No.
No, it's a credit, okay.
Any other
Yes, it is.
questions for Mr. Columbia? Not a motion is in order to approve change order 35-3.
Make a motion to approve change order number 35-3, amount of $12,000.
Motion by Mr. McGowan,
Second.
second by Dr. Griffith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item number 40, change order 35-4.
with Finney Company also for the Concord Middle School project for credit in the amount of $9,000. When voids were found under the existing slabs there on the floors, the ground hadn't been compacted properly back in the 60s when the site work was done, so you had some voids that ranged from inches to feet, and later on, quite a few feet wide and high. So the voids were filled to prevent the slab from dropping in the future. So some things that were planned on being done didn't have to be done, so we had a credit of $9,000.
Any other questions for Mr. Columbia regarding change order number 35-4? If not, a motion is in order to approve.
Make a motion to approve change order 35-4 for credit in the amount of $9,000.
Motion by Dr. Griffith,
A second.
second by Mr. McGowan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1 with Dr. Kudak, Dr. Griffith, Mr. McGowan, and Ms. Ritchie voting yes, and Ms. Hicks voting no. Item number 41, change order 35-5.
With Finney Company Incorporated for the Concord project in the amount of $1,000. This was to relocate existing sewer pipe and roof leader below slab for a new footer in room 123.
Has it been done?
I'm not 100% sure, Ms. Hicks, on that one. I can't say yes or no.
Do you know, Mr. Columbia?
It could be, I mean, it wouldn't be related to, having the scheduling reasons, so I can't say that it hasn't or hasn't been done. I don't want to comment on that. I can find out for you.
Any other questions regarding change order 35-5?
It seems to say that it was requested 9/11 and the date required was 9/12. But then there's some things from the 18th of September. But all the documentation is from.
My guess would that it is complete, but again, I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
We're not 100% complete with footers inside the building, the existing building, but we're really close. So again, it could be.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Columbia? If not, motion is in order to approve change order 35-5.
Make a motion to approve change order 35-5, amount of $1,000.
Motion by Mr. McGowan,
Second?
Second by Dr. Griffith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1 with Dr. Griffith, Dr. Kudak, Mr. McGowan, and Ms. Ritchie voting yes, with 6 voting no. Item number 42 is change order 39-2.
With Rising Sun Development Incorporated for the Conkright project in the amount of $60,693.30. It's where we had several voids ranging from 1 inch to 3 feet. They were found in the concrete slabs in several locations, nearly 3,747 square feet. And that was found right after our last board meeting. So, as mentioned earlier, to keep the project going forward, we went ahead and did that.
Questions, comments, or discussion? I believe we'll discuss this item already.
Previous discussion noted.
Okay. Any other questions, Mr. Columbia? If not, a motion is in order to approve change order 39-2.
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 39-2.
Okay. Motion by Mr. McGowan. Second. I'll go ahead and second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion fails 2-3. Mr. McGowan and Dr. Kudak voting in the affirmative. Ms. Ritchie, Ms. Hicks, and Dr. Griffith voting no. All right, next item is item number 43, change order 41-1 with Chambers Painting for the Conkright Middle School project.
This was for applying waterborne tile-clad walls that have been painted with latex over oil base. This would create a stronger barrier to prevent the existing failing latex going from being able to be peeled off. $5,832.
Has it been done?
No, ma'am.
Any other questions regarding change order 41-1? If not, motion is in order to approve.
I move that we approve change order number 41-1 with Chambers Painting for the Conkright Middle School project in the amount of $5,832.
Motion by Ms. Hicks,
I'll second.
second by Mr. McGowan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Columbia. Next item on number 44 is consider approval of donation request from Junior Achievement in the amount of $2,500. There's an item in our packet outlining what Junior Achievement does. Creates better understanding of business principles, business volunteers, gets kids active in the business community. I think it's been a good program. It's something that's very worthwhile. Many of our community leaders participate in Junior Achievement from construction and also mentoring. So, any questions, comments, change the amount? Okay. If not, motion is in order to approve considerable donation request from Junior Achievement in the amount of $2,500.
Make a motion to approve donation request from Junior Achievement in the amount of $2,500.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McGowan, second by Ms. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Does anyone wish to have any of the consent agenda items considered separately?
I submitted some questions related to some of the trips. Are all
I'll
those
try to answer them. I've
resolved?
got Mr. Bowen here too on item number 45. That's one student, one child who will be
Okay.
traveling with parents.
Thank
So
you.
to answer that first, we'll move on. Do you want to do each one? Or
Yeah,
we'll do
go
them
ahead.
all? You had a question on,
The number of days for the
yes,
cheerleading trip?
the instructions has been given them. They will be back for school on the 11th.
Okay, thank you.
47, the trip to the United Nations Assembly, 220 is total cost.
Okay, so that includes the conference cost and housing. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Item 48,
The private funds, what are the private funds?
I think it should probably just be student costs that we fund for students. If
Yes.
there's enough to go, I think they have to have 25.
Yeah, the students have already paid down payments.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get that trip together, and the chaperones, they had to have a total number by a certain date, and I assume they got that number. 'Cause-
The last I talked to her, she was questioning.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so it's really personal, it's their own funds,
Yes.
but it's not a
Mhm.
private donation that the board would
Mm-mm.
have to know about or anything, okay.
and then item number 49
Right, there was no cost
and
indicated.
there is none.
There is none.
Food, everything's paid.
Everything's paid even when they're not in Normandy.
So that they don't have to incur any cost or raise any money in order to get over there?
No, their airline tickets, everything's paid for.
Right.
Okay.
So their trip to Paris after they leave Normandy is paid for as well.
No, not to Paris, though, everything's Normandy and back is paid for. Paris was an optional thing that they were trying to work on.
Okay, they're not doing that.
Not on all. They're wanting to, but I don't think.
Because there was no, that's what I was looking at the cost for, because what the documentation seemed to say that everything to and from Normandy was furnished. But how many people go that far without going on over to
There
Paris?
was a,
I was gonna say, there's a lot. If you go on the website, it makes you want to just go, and they're doing stuff for a whole month. But our kids are not gonna be there for that whole month.
Right,
Yeah.
but they're not going anywhere else. when they're
There's
over
plenty
there.
to do in Normandy.
Yeah.
she was trying to get it worked where they possibly could go on to Paris, but I don't know. There was some logistics that they were trying to work out with the group. So I can't speak to that. I know that everything to and from Normandy, everything's paid for.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. If not, a motion will be in order to approve the following consent agenda items. Item number 45, consider approval of GRC dive team trip to participate in Dive Invitation Meet December 14th, 2013, in Cincinnati, Ohio. Item number 46, consider approval of GRC varsity cheerleaders trip to compete in National High School Cheerleading Championship, February 6th through 11th, 2014, in Orlando, Florida. Consider approval of GRC Y Club trip to Kentucky United Nations Assembly, March 9th through 11th, 2014, in Louisville. Consider approval of GRC Humanities Department trip to Art and Architectural Tour, March 26th through 29th, 2014, in Chicago, Illinois. Item number 49, consider approval of GRC French World Language Department trip to attend 70th anniversary of the D-Day landing in Normandy, France, June 1 through 8, 2014. Item 50, consider approval of Clark Middle School Y trip to participate in political and governmental process in Lexington, Kentucky, on December 1 through 3, 2013. Consider approval of the BG4 closeout document for the direct purchase order DPO 0746-06, our purchase order 110-10031 for Comfort and Process Solutions for Phase 1 GRC Clark High School project. Item 52, consider approval of BG4 closeout document for direct purchase order DPO 0746-02-02, our purchase order 139-20156 for BASF Corporation for the Phase 2 Clark County Area Technology Center project. Item number 53, consider approval of the BG4 closeout document for direct purchase order DPO 0746-02-10, our purchase order 139-20158 for Ferro Products Corporation of the Phase 2 Clark County Area Technology Center project. Item number 54, approval of employee leaves of absence. Item number 55, acknowledge and notice the personnel action report. Item number 56, consider approval of fundraiser request. Item number 57, acknowledge the cash position report. Item number 58, acknowledge the Clark County Clerk's motor vehicle tax report. Item number 59, acknowledge the Clark County Sheriff's report. Item number 60, acknowledge the monthly financial report. Item number 61, acknowledge the general fund budget summary report. The motion is in order to approve these items.
I make a motion to approve those items.
Motion by Mr. McGowan,
Second.
second by Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Motion is in order to authorize payment of accounts, salaries, and accounts payable.
Make a motion to authorize payment of salaries and accounts payable.
Motion by Mr. McGowan,
Second.
second by Dr. Griffith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Motion is in order to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. McGowan.
Second.
All those in, I'll give that to Ms. Ritchie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0 to adjourn at 9:52 p.m.
I made it through.
The motion is